Hello, this is Lewis at Global Marine Networks, and this is the second video in a three-part video on how to configure and use your Iridium AxcessPoint Wi-Fi device for use on iOS. So in our previous video we described the product and also the registration procedure. In this video we're going to show you how to install the software on your iPad or iPod Touch or iPhone. On my computer right now I have my iPad running iOS 5 connected to my computer. Any iOS device running version 4.0 or newer will work. And again, the supported devices are iPad, iPod Touch, and iPhone. Those three devices can be used with an AxcessPoint Wi-Fi device to do email over Iridium using Iridium's AxcessPoint Mail Web free service. So I've just brought up iTunes, and you'll see that I have my iPad connected, and I need to find the software. Well, the software is a free download from the iTunes store. So we go to the iTunes store, and I can do a search. I've already done that already, but if you when you first come up here, you'll put in AxcessPoint in the search bar, and then you'll search for it, and you'll find the application. Once you find the application, you go ahead and click on it. And there's your free app, and there's a description of the app with some screenshots. And if you click on free app here, what it will do is it'll go ahead, it'll access the iTunes store, and it will download that application for you. And so here we go, we're in the download process, and it just takes a few seconds to complete. Once it does that, if you go to the Applications menu in iTunes, you'll see that AxcessPoint is selected as one of your products. And if you go down and click on your iPad or your iOS device, and you go to the Applications tab, you'll notice that Iridium AxcessPoint Wi-Fi is one of the devices that's been selected. And if you apply, it'll at that point sync the application to your device, so that it'll be installed on your device, and at that point you can use it. Okay, so the download is complete, and we have now completed the installation of the software. Alright, now I can't display the iPad screen on my Mac here to do the recording, so I'm running the iPhone simulator, and we'll use that for demonstration purposes. Just know that this is not an actual device, but it's a simulation of the device, but it works exactly the same way. After you've installed the software with iTunes, you'll notice that there's an icon on your iOS device with AxcessPoint, the name AxcessPoint, and this is the software that you've just installed, which is the email application and web compression based browsing application that Iridium provides for use with its free AxcessPoint Mail and Web service. So you tap on the device and it comes up, and the first time it comes up it's going to ask you for a username and a password. So this is the username and the password that you registered with Iridium, and you should have that information in an email that was sent to you by Iridium, and it was also displayed on the screen, and so you go ahead and enter the information. So GMN2 is the username, my real name is GMN demo, and the password for this particular account is that, and then I can hit save. At that point the application is active, and we're ready to start using it. Okay, so here we are at the main menu. To do an email, you tap at the mail icon, and here are the list of your mailboxes. So to compose a new email, you'll notice that there's an icon at the bottom right hand corner of the screen. We tap that, and that will bring up my to field. I can click on the address here and select an address from the address book. And so there it is, or I could have typed in an email there as well. I enter subject, first email, and then I type a message. Hello, here is my first AxcessPoint email. And then we can just add it to the outbox. If you want to add an attachment, you can just hit the dismiss button here to dismiss the keyboard. And at the bottom left hand corner you'll see a little icon, and you can attach a file or a photo to your picture before you send it. When you're done composing your message, you can just add it to the outbox, and you'll notice that we have an indicator indicating that we have one message in the outbox, and there it is. One important thing to keep in mind is that when you're composing emails, you're not online. The AxcessPoint device is offline. Also, remember in our first video we said that the AxcessPoint device will go online the very first time you use it because it's the way it comes automatically configured with Iridium. So while you're doing the setup as we've done here, it's best to keep your Iridium AxcessPoint device disconnected or off until you're ready to use it, because the very first time we use it, AxcessPOint Mail Web will reprogram the device to only go online when you want it. Just keep in mind that when you buy the new device, as soon as you turn it on, it's going to go online until you do the very first connection. So we compose our emails offline, and so I've composed one message. I could compose 100 messages. It doesn't matter. Let's just go ahead and do another message just again very quickly so that you'll see how this procedure works. Here it is. Here's the second message. So this is message 2, and then we'll go ahead and add it to the outbox. And so now we have 2 messages in the outbox that are pending to go. All right, so how do we send the messages? On the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see an icon which is going to select the Send and Receive button to actually send the messages. Now at this time, you should go ahead, turn on your Iridium phone, plug it into your AxcessPoint device, make sure you've got really good signal. You want 5 unwavering bars before you attempt to do a data connection. The phone will go online automatically the very first time, since that's the default for the phone. Also, the firewall is totally open, so you want to turn it on. At this point, you'll go into the settings menu for your iOS device, and you'll connect to the hotspot for the AxcessPoint. Now, I can't demonstrate that to you right now because I'm running on the simulator, and the simulator does not have the Wi-Fi settings. But if you go to settings and you go to general, you'll see the Wi-Fi devices listed there. This is a simulator, and therefore this is a reduced version of the settings, and so it doesn't represent what you'll have on the phone. So you'll go to the Wi-Fi settings, and you'll find the device. It's going to be called PHS300IC with some number, and the last 3 digits will correspond to the MAC address for your device. And so you'll connect to that particular device, and then once you're connected, you'll come back to your AxcessPoint application, and you'll go to the mail section, and you'll do a send and a receive. Now, what you'll notice is the very first time you connect, you'll establish a connection to the device. It'll give you some information, log information of what the process is. So you'll notice that the signal strength is 100%. The AxcessPoint Wi-Fi application will not do a data application unless the signal strength is 60% or greater. So if you hit the send and receive and the signal strength is low, it'll just inform you that signal length is too low and it will not do it. The next step is, you notice it'll say setting firewall rules. So this is the first time we've connected to this device, and so it's going to reprogram the device so that it uses the firewall rules that only permit access to AxcessPoint Mail Web servers. And also, so we're done here. Let me just go ahead and display the log file here. And then goes ahead and programs the firewall, and then changes the settings so that it will only it will dial on demand. And so at this point, after the session is complete, your unit will go offline. It will no longer be online and will only go online when you hit the send and receive button inside of the AxcessPoint Mail Web. So next you'll see we've initialized the firewall, and then we're going to attempt the connection. Looking through the log files, you'll see that it takes about 15 seconds or so to get connected. Once we're connected, it establishes a connection to the mail server. It goes ahead and sends the messages that you have pending. In this case, it'll give you a size indicator. This is the actual amount of data that is being transmitted. There's 2 mails that are being sent in that one session. They're all compacted and compressed into one block. The message was successfully sent to the server. Then we log into the server to see if we have any mail messages. We have no mail messages, so at that point we complete our session, and the AxcessPoint turns off the phone and disconnects it from the network. and then it gives you the button that is done. So we've done it. We've sent our messages. You notice that the outbox is now empty because the messages were sent, and the messages that were sent were moved into the sent folder. And so here are copies of your messages that will collect there. You can re-edit them, you can delete them, you can do whatever else is required. So to receive a message, it's the same. If you had any pending messages, they would have been downloaded in the session. They would have shown in the inbox, and you would have clicked on the inbox and then clicked on them to view them. And from there you can print them, read them, or move them into another folder and archive them. So it's a pretty standard application. It works pretty much like all other email applications, and so we invite you to experiment with that. Let me go back to the main menu. In addition to doing mail, the application also does web browsing. Now, the web browsing is done with compression, but keep in mind that the raw rate for Iridium is 2400 baud. The compression on average gives you 3 to 5x in performance improvement. So you're browsing at about 10,000 baud, which is about 6 times slower than a dial-up connection. Most of you are paying over $1 a minute for your airtime. So and web pages on the internet are quite large, and so even though there is compression and web browsing accelerates that whole process, it's still going to be very slow and expensive to browse the internet. So I would stick to mobile devices and only use those websites that you must use, and pretty much concentrate on the mail. The mail works very, very well. It's very fast. It's very efficient. The web browsing is not so much so, but it's there if you require it. To browse on the internet, you would click on the web, and then you would type on connect, and that would bring your connection up. Now, this application uses the built-in Safari web browser, so it goes online with a Safari web browser, and the application will exit. When you're done browsing, you'll want to come back up here into the connection control, and this connection control will tell you the status of the connection. So it'll tell you whether the connection is up or down, and then you can push the button so the connection is down. Or the connection were up, you would just tap on disconnect in order to disconnect. You can also go online here if you wanted to. So if you had other applications that were not web browsing that needed access to the internet, you could come into the connection control, push the connection control. What that's going to do is it's going to put the unit online, and then allow you to exit the application and do whatever you need to. And then when you're completed with that operation, you can come back here and you can disconnect the phone and shut down the service from here. So I've pushed the connection button, and you'll notice that at this point we had 60% signal. We're establishing a signal. I'm looking at my phone, and actually my signal has dropped, and so we're probably going to have a failed connection here simply because we don't have enough signal at this point to complete the connection. So we'll just wait here and let it time out. If it can't complete the connection after 10 tries, it'll just go ahead and just tell you that it can't, and you'll just have to try again. So we'll just wait here momentarily until this finishes, and then we'll conclude this video and move on to the next one, which will show us how to download weather. Oh, actually we're online now, and so this is what it looks like. So at this point you can go do something on your phone. You can go, run another application that uses the internet and so forth. And when you're done, you can come back up here to connection control, tap for the connection status. It'll tell you that the phone is active, and then you can go ahead and tap the button to disconnect, and that will shut the connection down. So that's part of the connection control. Keep in mind that it's not necessary to come into connection control when you're going to do the browsing. You can just press the web button on the menu and hit connect, and that will take you online, and then you can come back to the connection control to disconnect. So all of the features in the AxcessPOint Mail and Web are described in the help file, which is included with the application. And so if you've got any questions on how to use any specific feature, you can go into the help to take a look at that. Anyway, this concludes our second video, and we'll move on to the third video, which will show us how to do a specific application, which is to download weather on your iPod. Anyway, this is Louis wishing you a good day, and we'll see you soon.